Hello, hello.
Ah, that's better. Oh, so it wasn't me. I thought it was, I thought it was me. It was you.
No, it was me. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I had the mute button active on my control panel. Sorry about that. I was actually just going through the pound trade that we took yesterday, and we cancelled the order, and then I put another order out into trade calls. And guess what, Ash?
It worked.
It expired before I got into the
Oh,
market.
oh, expired. Does it expire? Does it?
Well, it does when you go to bed and you put an EA on the order.
Oh, right. Oh, I see.
So instead of being in this trade long the pound, I'm sitting on the sidelines wishing I was in the
Oh
pound long,
no.
which is
Where
far
was your
better, of
entry?
course, being in the pound
Yeah.
short and wishing you were out of it.
Yeah. Better to
That,
wish you were in than wish you were out. Yeah.
yeah, at this point anyway. So yeah, that's my story of woe at the moment. How did you fare at the end of the
I
season?
fared well in the end.
You did another good one. Good man.
I did another good one. Do you want me to run through it, or are you dealing with stuff?
No, go for it, mate.
Okay. There will be another opportunity today. I did, and I have to say it was it obviously went against me to start with, but it was okay. It all worked out very, very well. So let me bring you this. So I was to. Oh, you need to give me power.
Okay. Well, I'll see you later then.
Okay.
Hang on. Let me see if I can do this so that I don't actually get kicked out. I'm not sure I can, but let me try. No, I'm going to have to go this way. All right. I'll see you in a minute.
Okay, buddy. All right. All right. Let's run this trade. So, well, we're going to get another opportunity hopefully today. So I was talking yesterday about the monthly pivot. It didn't quite touch the monthly pivot, but this bar kind of gave us another entry at the low. So I took the first short. Where's my first short? I think it was.
I'm back. That was quick.
Oh, you're back. Oh, that was good. I think it might have even been. Where was the first short? I can't even remember. Oh, can't even remember. But I took a short there. I took a short there, and then I took another. Sorry, a long. Took a long. I took a long. I took a long. It all kind of. But I also I got a few shorts in the market. Now this is getting sort of quite interesting. So I balanced it out. So I've got no trades on right now. Worked out well. And I think I made about 0.5%. It wasn't a stellar day by any stretch. I was obviously aiming for the weekly pivot, but no big deal.
Give you some play money for today, mate.
Yeah, this is the thing. I mean, I'm every trade that I'm doing now is really kind of gravy because I've already done the 6%. So I guess now I'm at 6.5%, which is great. And if I get, I mean, I've got a week and a half left to maybe make it a really good month. I'd
You
quite
can
like to
turn
get to
half a
double
percent
figures.
into 10%. Awesome.
That'd be good. Yeah, I'm only 3.5 away, so there's a chance that could happen. Now, the monthly pivot is obviously a target. Now, the issue I've got here, and this might end up being a bit of a missed opportunity, but the issue I've got here is that there's a level just a bit lower than the monthly pivot. Now, when we bring this on the cleans, and this one I will definitely enter. I may not enter the monthly pivot because this is another long to go short. I'm still short this market, but that's not my level. Let's bring this on the weeklies. It's on the weekly. Now, the weekly, I am looking along this line here, and I quite like it. Again, I'm relying on the most touches, touch, and touch. So this is where I believe the trend line is. Now, the fact that it is just slightly under the monthly pivot, in actual fact, let's bring this up with the monthly pivot instead. The fact that it is along the monthly pivots, very near the monthly pivot, suggests that there will be some support area here. So we're going to bring that down a little bit. So just a little bit further down, and the monthly pivot sat at 7,200. This lower line's around about 71.80, so it's about 20 pips below. So I'm actually going to let it come down just a little bit further, or see if I can get it down just a little bit further. And if I can, we'll tighten that line right up so we can see all the touches along here. If I can get it down here, then I'm going to take the trade. So I'm going to try and enter around about 30 pips below where we are now. Now, the reason that I think that there's still an opportunity to go long is because of the statement tomorrow. Now, it's possible that the monthly pivot's all we get. Now, if you want to enter the monthly pivot, no big deal. And in actual fact, I may well miss the opportunity, but I'm prepared to do that because you know, it's been a good month, but I am going to protect from here on in. You know, I'm not going to get anywhere near as aggressive. So I'm going to look to protect here on in. So I just want it to come down just a little bit lower than the monthly pivot, get me down here. Then I'm going to go for the long, and I'm still going to aim for this weekly. So I'm looking for around about 100 pip run to the upside. And at that point, then I will be putting the short in the market, and I will just let it run and see what establishes. If that happens, of course, you know, the same happened yesterday. I was looking for a trade to the upside and the trade to the upside didn't materialize. So I had to keep managing and entering. Now, there's always two ways you can do it. You can put longs and shorts in, which I wouldn't encourage you doing until you got some experience doing that. I've been doing that now for quite some time. And I've worked out a way to make the maths work. But you don't have to do that. And I don't really encourage you guys to do that, because you're better off putting an entry in the market, putting your stop in place. If it goes through, letting yourself get stopped out, then going in again lower, and then going in again lower, because eventually it's going to go and touch those levels, which I'm pretty sure, I think this might have been pretty sure that was around about the first area for the first trade. So it would have balanced out if you'd kind of like done that first trade there. I can't fully remember, but we'll see. But if this comes down, I just want it a little bit lower. It's almost there now, but a little bit lower and here, and then I can go long. What I quite like about it is that there's going to be a lot of people entering around about this monthly pivot, and I'm just looking for them to get caught on the hop a little bit, and for the big guns, I suppose, just to squeeze a little bit more out of them. Now, if it does start to break down, then this market is in a lot of trouble. You know, if it breaks through that weekly area, it's in a lot of trouble. Which I think the market is in a lot of trouble. But I'm just looking for one more push to the upside. And I suppose one of the reasons I'm looking for that push is because tomorrow we have ECB President Lagarde making her first speech, and I'm just looking for her to give some. Well, maybe she doesn't say anything which could help the market out, but I'm looking for the market to have a little bit of a pause into that speech and into that meeting. So I think there is some upside. As I say, this isn't the worst entry point in the world, but it does mean you're going to have stops under this particular level. So you're looking at around about a 30 pip stop, and your target is still going to be around about 100. So you've still got a 3-to-1 from this particular point. If we enter here, then we're probably looking at a more like a 15 pip stop. And a 15 pip stop, which could actually get around about 120 pips. So with a 15 pip stop and a 120 pip gain, then we are looking at a 8-to-1 potentially at that particular point. So this one here, as I say, not the worst entry in the world, and we can see that there is a looking on the 5-minute chart here, we can see that there's just the smallest amount of accumulation going on, so it may well hold, and certainly if this produces a hammer of some sort, that's going to look like the obvious place to take the trade. And as I say, I'm kind of happy to miss it if that's the case, and if I do, then there's every chance that my trading month is done. But I would like to see if I can get it just a little bit lower. So that's the current plan, mate. I'm looking for around about another 20 pip run to the downside. And then I am looking to take a trade long, and I am going long, but ultimately I'm looking at the long to go short. Now, obviously, we're not in tomorrow, so if anybody does get this trade, if anybody's in this trade now, the idea is to aim for the weekly pivot, up here. Put this stop at break even. And if it goes through, no harm, no foul, but you're just waiting for it to start coming back down again. As this one comes down and this one goes to break even, when there's a little bit of room between the 2 points, then you close the long, which means that you're looking for, with a potential 100 pip move to the upside, you're looking to get at least, I would have thought, 60 pips out of that. So there is an opportunity, and it's just a case of where you want to get in. Do you want to be? Are you quite happy to have a 30 pip stop here, or do you want to risk not getting in the trade and waiting down there? And it's really going to be down to how your month's gone, I think, more than anything else. Because, as I say, I think it's fine. This area is fine, and already we can see that there is some accumulation going on here. But I'm going to be just a little bit more patient. I was going to say aggressive, but it's not actually aggressive. This is the more aggressive entry, but not hyper aggressive by any stretch. But I'm going to be a little bit more patient and see if I can get my price just a little bit lower down. I mean, the one thing about this is that we have tested the monthly pivot once and bounced, so it is starting to look like a double bottom down here. I'm going to do just a quick trend line and see where this meets.
I've been having a yak to myself again with the microphone off. So
I
hope you enjoyed that.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I've been asking you questions and all sorts of things. But
well, ask away, mate. Ask away.
It's all good. You've answered them anyway. It's all fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the idea, mate. I just want to wait just a little bit longer. Now, obviously, let's see what happens, because what may end up. Yeah, no, I think I'm going to wait either way. That's the decision I've made, mate, and that's the decision I'm going to go with.
That's the plan.
Yeah, it's the plan. I still think there's a little bit of downside in this market. I think that's the issue for me. I'm quite happy to see if I can watch a few more people get a bit more flushed out before taking on the long.
Yeah, it looks like a nice place to gather some liquidity right underneath that monthly pivot, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the point, isn't it? Is that where is the liquidity? And I think you're right. I think it is under the monthly pivot rather than on it, because there's so many entries here, obviously in place, and there's a chance that people will enter on the monthly pivot and put a stop just a little bit below. Mm-hmm. They're probably waiting for a bar to enter on any. Well, in fact, the big guns won't be. They'll just be. They'll just be kind of getting in, as you can see that there is this accumulation going on here, and we can see that there's again not the worst thing in the world to enter here. Do I think it's going to come down here? Well, in truth, I'm a bit 50-50. I am being a bit maybe a bit hyper patient down there, because there is obviously this level here, but let's see, mate. I think I'll probably end up missing out on it. But I am being, as I say, a bit more choosy because of the way the month has gone.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't you be? There's absolutely no reason for you to be casting money back at them. You want to be sure. And 50-50 is not good enough. No,
this is the thing. And if the level is down here, then I've got a cracker of a price. This is the thing. I think this is a good price still, but I'll have a cracker of a price down there. But you can actually see, look at the accumulation starting to happen here. So there's obviously the monthly pivot is obviously being quite nicely respected right now.
Yep, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the other thing about it, I was going to say, I wonder whether there might be an opportunity later in the piece, if this trend line starts to meet monthly pivot, but it's not going to be until that won't be until next week. Yeah, that won't be until next week, but this is like now. This will be interesting, because this is obviously starting to look like an entry bar, which means that a pop just above where some orders are going to sit means that the low down there is going to be where those stops are. Mm-hmm. And this next bar is going to be the fascinating one, because I wonder whether we do see a little tip up and then just a little bit of a dive down. I mean, that bar actually doesn't end up being all that convincing anyway. Yeah, I wonder whether we get some we get some entries brought in, get some stops taken out, and then and as you say, you know, create that liquidity that way, or maybe people are already in. You know, they might have even traded the tip of that bar, and liquidity could be formed. But it'd be fantastic if this could just come down just a little bit more. You know what? While I'm talking about this, I'm going to get set up on all accounts to make sure my trades are ready to go, so I can just hit buy.
All right. While you're doing that, should I have a look at some currencies, perhaps?
Yeah, great idea.
I don't think I kick you out. It's only you kick me out when I do this. So. Okay, I'm going to start with the euro. And, you know, speaking of being patient, look, this has got such a, and you'll want to comment on this later, so I might come back to it whilst you're working. I'll just comment on it for now and then come back to what I was going to say. This has got a little bit of a look about it to me, and I do like the little bull flag here. But the problem is, you know, are we in a trend? And the answer, you know, higher high, really? Higher low, really? Higher high, really? Certainly there's a higher high and there's a higher low. That's all I can tell you. But that to me does not a trend make. And of course, I'm on a 30-minute chart. Oh, sorry, no, I'm on a 4-hour chart. I'm trying to get my control, but there we go. That's why I couldn't see what I was on. So the 30-minute chart is suggesting pretty much the same thing. We've got an equal high here now, a higher low, and now a break of resistance. The reason I think this is possible to actually break, and it's against my bias, I've got to say, is the patterns that I'm seeing. And the patterns that I'm seeing are very much around that that little retracement flag that that we can see there. Very much a case of, okay, this wants to break to the high side and follow the way it was entered. So entered below going long, exit going long. That's kind of where I'm at. And we're back at the same old formula where we've got bottom, retrace, well, whatever, call it what you want. But then we've got the higher low. So, yeah, this to me is very much a case of should be a possible go to the top of the range here. So up around the 111.70 mark. You could have traded that bar, I suppose, if you're really gutsy and traded into those pivots, but not for me. This is probably the only one on the 4-hour chart that we'd be looking at. But as I said, on the smaller time frames, it's very much the same thing. This is the only higher low that we've had. And again, you probably could have traded that. With your stops under here would have been a decent trade. And that looks like it may even get to the top of this range. And that's where I think this will be decided. So that's the hourly chart I'm looking at. If we go back to the 4-hourly chart, we're looking up here, right? So if we can find something back on that hourly chart or 30-minute chart that suggests this is going long, then this would be a really cool risk to reward trade. So on a 30-minute chart, for instance, your risk is going to be, you know, maybe even under here, 15 pips, something like that. And you've got 90 available. So that'd be a 6-to-1. That would be pretty cool if we can actually find a way into that. Why do I think this can go long when my appetite and my bias is for the short? And that's based on a different scenario where we've come off this resistance level here, put in a double top, and now put in the lower high. So going the opposite direction. So very much a case of this has been happening all week. I can make a strong case for the shorts. I can make a strong case for the long as well. You can see that during the week we haven't moved one jot, not one tittle, not one iota have we moved. This is Monday's bar, Tuesday's bar, Wednesday's bar, today's bar. We've just monthly pivot bound, isn't it? That's where we are. So this will move away from here, no question. The real question I have to ask myself is, why are we in this range and why are we sticking here? And the answer probably lies in what Ash was talking about before. That is tomorrow, where Christine Lagarde gives her opening speech for the ECB. So I think that's why we're bound here. And I said earlier in the week that I'd be surprised if we don't see some buying going into that announcement. That's why I'm probably got a bit of a bullish outlook on this. And that's why, again, I'd be happy to trade this long against my bias. But I've got to see a setup, of course. That was it probably if you were trading, if you like to trade doji bars or hanging man dojis. But really, really dangerous trade, that one to take after we've broken clear of the internal range, if you like. And also, we've closed below the monthly pivot. So really impossible for me to take that trade. And you can see what's happened since, very little. What do I need to see to trade this long is the question mark. Well, it won't be from here, that's for sure. So what I'd really like to see, we've got an untested daily pivot, and that's kind of par for the course at the moment. What I would like to see is price come down to here, hit this support level or thereabouts, at least get under the pivots again, then come back above them and then retest them.
I love that line, mate.
It's a bit thicker.
Nice. Nice and tight.
Okay, well, we can actually fix that up. Let's go and let's go and do something like this.
We're on a graffiti artist.
So we need price to come down to here, take out the pivots, get below the trend line, then come back, get above it, and retest that area. That's what we're looking for. If we were to see that, and that's probably going to take a few hours, of course, then I think the long is on either from there if you're really gutsy, or there if you want to play it a little bit safer.
Interesting.
And then look for the top. That's what I'm seeing in patterns on the charts at the moment. My bias, again, as I said, is completely in the opposite direction. So what I would need to see to trade that is exactly the reverse of what I've just drawn on my chart. And this is probably the best case scenario. So let this get up to here, even break to the high side, either one's fine. Then consolidate a little bit, come back underneath, retest that area there, and then we can go in the opposite direction. We need to take profit, of course, before these pivots, and then just let it rip. And if it goes to the bottom, happy days. If it doesn't, we'll be safe in the market, having taken our profit early at these pivots. So that's the plan. I'm able to be convinced in either direction, but from what I'm seeing in the charts, this has a strong chance to go long. So I'm probably favoring the longs against my bias. And again, the reason for that comes from the 4-hour chart, really, where we can clearly see we've come off the bottom and we've put in a higher low. That's plan A. Plan B is we do have a little bull flag sitting here, and that's potentially going to break to the high side. Again, I'd question if that's a trend that the bull flag is sitting on, but there you go. So that's euro. No orders at the moment, no trades at the moment. The pound we spoke about earlier, and we did call a long on this yesterday and cancel the order when price came down to this area. Found a second entry, and I put this out as a trade call. It was above this candle here. Got taken in, it looks like prior to some news. I don't know what the news was at that time of day, and survived the whipsaw, and now price is looking pretty damn good. Well, I wouldn't say damn good, but the risk on that was only about 17 pips, and you're just past 1-to-1 on that now. So that one's looking okay. If you were trading that and are trading that, I would suggest you get safe in the market, because this has got every chance of bouncing off this trend line and going south as well. So there's absolutely no certainty, in my humble opinion, about the pound at the moment. The only thing to me that was clear yesterday was that we had come back above the break of this frame, the break of the channel. So normally what I'll be looking for here is once we come back inside this price to go down that way. It didn't do that, and that's when I see something else is going on. Therefore, I think it's safe to trade in the opposite direction, and that's exactly what has happened to this point. The same would be the case if we now, as I've described on the euro pretty much, come back below this line and retest the confluence area here. Happy days. That would be a trade short for me without question. The low of the day is down here, so I haven't got that problem. And I could certainly take profit at the daily pivot and look for this to go south again. So I can't trade long now, right now. I can make a decision based on what happens next, but I'm really not that keen to trade long at this point. I'm rather looking for shorts. Aussie, what a bit of a mess we've got here on the Aussie. That's not my trade. That's a Wave Rider trade. I'm on the Actions to Wealth TTR account at the moment. And that is a Wave Rider trade that's going quite okay by the look of it. South, the Aussie. There's a setup there with a break and retest of this trend line, but untested daily pivot. And these are the things that, haunt me really. It's why I can't go to sleep at night sometimes because I want to get into the market here, but my rules are saying, no, you don't really want to get into the market here. If this was going down in a hurry, I'd probably have another look at that, but it's not. And as you can see, we've pretty much plateaued here. We've leveled off, and I don't see any reason why this would break out anytime soon. So yes, I see the break and retest here. I also see DS1 straight underneath this. I also see a support area through here that's been resistance as well over here. So why would I want to trade into that? Answer is I don't. So no for me. I have been an Aussie bear, and I guess I remain that way because there's still room underneath here, I do believe. And again, talking of flags, this is potentially one of those as well. We have at least put in a triple top here, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. But since that point, that's where the problem lies. We've gone into the consolidation area, and I really am not sure which way this is headed next, whether it's going to really come back and retest this monthly pivot again, whether it's going to come back and retest, well, pretty much that's the neckline if we're talking necklines. So that's probably the area that if we did come to here, then I'd be very, very happy to trade it short. I think that's a great place to look for a short, to be fair, but not right now. Euro Aussie, yeah, look, interesting. I was keen this morning to trade this one short, but couldn't find a reason so to do apart from that bar there. But when I saw price climbing towards that high, I thought, well, I'll just let this go. There may be a better opportunity and not trade that bar. And of course, the weekly pivot being untested below with a very poor reward to risk ratio. You've got 108 or let's say 105 pips of risk and trading into 28 pips of reward or 30 pips of reward. Bad maths. Don't like that at all. So I don't think that's a trade, especially when it's not 100% clear which way we're going next. Yes, I see the double top. I see the lower low. I see the lower high. I see the equal low. And we don't know yet whether this is a lower high or not. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I can definitely see this retesting this area now. And same again, if that were to be the case, I'd probably look to trade it short off here. After all, we're now pretty much in this box range that I haven't really highlighted too much, but it's sitting there as far as I can tell. And this would be the area I'd be looking to find a short. So yes, it could go short here, and if it does, I'd want to have a signal that that's about to happen. I'm not that keen with this trend line, and the reason I'm not that keen with this trend line is the big gap before we get a second test. That's like a month of Sundays, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's a month in there where we haven't visited that trend line. Now we've crashed it and broken it. I don't want to trade long here. The reward, again, isn't that great. We've got an untested daily pivot below, so there's too many reasons not to go long. I can totally see the target area, but no. I'm staying out until I get the signal short because that's the way I want to go. How? That's going to be a bit of a tough order now because that trend line is now no longer a trend line because it's been broken twice for mine. So that moves up to there. Again, same old story, break underneath, retest, trade, daily pivot untested. If you haven't got profit before there, don't take the trade, in my humble opinion. So it'd have to be a pretty tight under and back type scenario before I did look to trade that. So very much the case of there we go. I do have an order placed, and this is it. It is EuroCAD, and I'm trading this short with my bias. My bias is short, and really what we're trading here is this is one of these scenarios that we were looking to develop, the strategy that we're looking to develop. I'll go to a bigger time frame and show you why this is what it is. We've broken the top of this range that we've been in since 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, nearly 2.5 months, right? So what has happened here is we've had a breakout bar, and that breakout bar, albeit not the bar I would look for, I'd really like to see a bar that closed on or near its high. This is in the vicinity, but you wouldn't say it's closed on its high by any stretch. What I do see is if the bulls do not take charge here, then the breakout will be false. And the theory here, of course, is if the breakout is false, then this candle is probably the line in the sand where they'll be proved wrong. And if they're proved wrong here, the bears should jump on that. And we've got a really nice reward to risk here for our first take profit. And for that reason, that's a bit better than 1-to-1 actually before we take profit. That's pretty cool. And if we were lucky enough to get into that, then we've got a 3-to-1 to the bottom. So I think that's a pretty decent reward on offer here if we can find the trade. Now, under different circumstances, well, under normal circumstances, with the strategy that I do trade, I'd be waiting for this to come back inside the range, then give me a lower high, give me a false break scenario, you know, something like under here, retest, exactly what I've just described, I think 3 or 4 times in the last 5 minutes. So that would then put me in a position where, let me see, I'll draw a small line this time. If we were to wait for that to happen, back into here, retest, if you're ballsy, you trade it from there. If you're conservative, you trade it from there, short. There's no room here anymore. So the reward on offer for the risk is drastically reduced versus you play the 1 candle. So I'm looking for at least 5 candles to play that trade. This is the 1 candle opportunity that we're working on at the moment to see if that's actually going to work for us. So I've only traded this at like 0.25% or something like that. And at this point, whilst ever that high is intact, I'll remain in the game. We'll see what happens thereafter. But if you want to follow that, I'll what's today? Thursday. Oh, I'm sure we'll get a result on this before the weekend. So what I'll be looking for is an entry at 1.4684 with a stop loss of 73 pips, which puts us about 4 or 5 pips above the high of this bar. We'll take profit and we'll take half off the table at 76 pip mark, so 1-to-1. You could either then move your stops to entry or keep your stops where they are. You'd be free trading no matter what. And then your target is 219 pips away. So that is the EuroCAD scenario. I've been praying, Preying, on Euro Yen most of the week, just hoping, I suppose, beyond hope, as it seems at the moment, that it will give me some signal to say, all right, I'm out of here. Still, I see 2 scenarios. This one on the 4-hour chart, which suggests to me that there is another lower high here. And that's suggesting to me a little bit of downside. We haven't seen that. We've just stalled. Every time we've tried to go somewhere here, we've just stalled. On the daily chart, I'm still seeing the higher low. with this bar here. So very, very confusing. But I know this is going to move and it's going to rocket somewhere. I just know that's going to happen. And I really want to be in that. I want to be involved, but I just cannot see it at the moment. Where do I go? Do I place my long here and my stop under here? That makes sense to me. Do I place my short here and my stop here? That also makes sense to me, but I'm not yet convinced that we're going in either direction. So, well, I'm not yet convinced we're ready to break out. And I think, again, this goes back to Lagarde. I think this is all about, the stalling with the market is all about waiting to see what she has to say. And that's why I don't want to get into the market. I think it's very, very possible that we'll tip in here and then go south, tip in here and then go north. And I think it's a very, very dangerous way to be trading at the moment. So that's not on my agenda. Aussie yen. We spoke about this at length. And hi, Rich. And this is not dissimilar. I'm seeing a case for both. What I'm really looking for is, again, a clear indication as to which way we're headed. Monthly pivot's been rejected twice, 2 false breaks of the monthly pivot, and then a rejection of the monthly pivot on this resistance trade line. That's suggesting to me that we get a bounce, and we've done that. We got below the monthly pivot, and we've had a retest of that, but we had one there. We had another one there. How many do you want? And which one do you trust? That's my issue. I can see a potential slingshot scenario here where we've approached the trade line, we've pulled back away from it. That's probably tradable back to there if that candle closes as is. Yeah, kind of. I don't want to trade here, that's for sure. I'm not trading into the low. That's not going to happen. If you're really, really keen and want to trade that bar, there's probably worse trades to take, but there's better trades to take also, and that's my point. This is not clear. It's not crystal clear, and neither's anything to me at the moment, to be fair, and that's why I'm not in the market. I've got to wait until it is clear, and all I'm seeing is, ups and downs, high tails, low tails, reversal bars, train track reversals. It's not for me, this market right now, so I'll be leaving that one alone as well. I'm sounding pretty boring here, I know, but that's the fact of the matter. Unless it's clear, I ain't going anywhere. This is dollar yen, and I was keen on getting short this earlier in the week. Maybe that bar there was the bar to trade. I don't know, but again, no slingshot scenario for me. So I'll look at the 4-hour chart and see if there's anything clear here. The only thing that's clear is that we're not moving, and that's kind of been the case for 2 or 3 days. We retested the weekly pivot, having broken it. You would think that would be enough momentum to test the lows. I suppose that's really happened. Then we've come back, ridden the daily pivot for a day or so. We seem to be doing that again. Maybe this is the opportunity for the breakout. Again, I don't see a reward on offer here for the risk that you'd have to take to get into the market. So I'm kind of going to leave it there and go back to where I think there are possible trades. The pound will be one of them, and it won't be the direction you're thinking. I'm not thinking long here, I'm thinking short. And a couple of reasons for that: untested daily pivot. If I go to the bigger time frames, I'm seeing this resistance hit again at a confluence area. We've come off the top. This looks like a lower high potential to me. And if we were to get that, then I'm headed down in this direction. Untested weekly pivot, untested daily pivot. It's telling me that I need to go short the pound. I'm not sure if there's a fundamental reason so to do, but we're going to have a crack anyway. What we need to see is this candle close in about 21 minutes from now, as it is, and then we get one below, take out this low would be good, and hit that confluence area. That would be hunky-dory, and then we'll trade it short. So that's clear to me. The euro is also clear to me, but I can't trade it at the moment. Again, what I want to see is either our price get down here and give us a false break long, or give us a false break short. Either way, I'm happy. Mate, so I'm going to call it quits there. I don't see anything clearer than the euro or the pound. It's just a matter of waiting for either of those to set up. And
Yeah,
of course,
that's
I've still
fair,
got
mate.
that euro CAD in the market. That is a long way from triggering.
Okay. Well, let's just
about
quickly talk
me.
about this. That is good. So, let's talk about this
See you,
FTSE
Rich.
because
Happy day ahead. To you as well. Ash,
so
are you with me, or have you gone, or what's the go?
I'm with you, mate. Can you not hear me?
Muted, or am I talking to nobody?
You're not talking to nobody. Hold on one second.
I think Ash is, has retired. Perhaps not. As I said, I've been through just about everything. Oh, okay, you're in and talking. Then why can't I hear you?
I'm not muted. Can I ask if everybody else can hear me? Or...
Can anyone else hear Ash? You can hear both. Oh, okay. I've lost the plot. I don't know why I can't hear you, Ash. I've lost the signal somewhere along the line.
Okay.
I don't think I can fix that either.
No problem.
Speaker's good.
We can do it this way.
No. Anyway, I'll let you talk. Hang on, I'll see if I can turn on the broadcast. There you
go. Okay, you can hear me. Obviously, we're going to be a little bit delayed. But if you can give me screen.
To you on the broadcast, so I'm about 10 seconds behind.
Okay, no problem. If you could give me screen, that'd be great, because the trade on the FTSE is about to shape up.
I'll give you the screen. Okay.
That'd be amazing, mate. Thank you.
Okay. I'll probably disappear again, but that's okay.
Okay.
Let me...
Glitchy today. Right. Here we go. Right, now, this FTSE's interesting. I can't find exactly where the low is. I think it might be here, but you can see that it's a little bit scruffy around this area. It could be a little bit higher. It could even have touched already. So because of that, this is no big deal. This is good, because what this now means is that we have an area for our stops. So let's look at this on a 15-minute chart. So what I am going to do is look to enter just above this bar. So this is a 15-minute chart here. So I'm going to enter just above this bar. I'm going to bring it to you guys so we can put the orders in. Now, if the orders, if it comes down a little bit more, then we've got a little bit more room to go for. So this is your bar here. Your bar is this one. Looks pretty good. Now let's just have a look at this here. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So your order will be at the price of, can I bring it in? 72.13 is your buy, okay? And you can use the low of this bar, no big deal. 72.13. Let's give it a 15 pips stop loss. So you're looking at around about 71.88. So 72.15 is the entry, and 71.88 is the stop. Okay. Now I'm going to bring my charts back again, just so I can do the same. So my entry is, it's probably going to be somewhere around about the 7200 level. And then I can use that as the low for the stop. So 72, looks like it's 72.07. So I'm starting to like this quite a lot. There could be a little bit more downside, which is why I'm not keen just to enter, because I'm not sure whether we've hit the low or not. We may well have done. But just in case there's a little bit further down, because it's a bit of a scruffy area. There's my placement now. Is that in the right place there? 72. Just going to double check this. Yeah, that seems pretty good. So I'm entering the high of the bar. which will end up actually being pretty much on top of the monthly pivot, which is okay. You know, actually using the monthly pivot is okay, but I'm just finding it difficult to ascertain exactly where the low point is. If it was to come down another 15 pips, I'd probably enter because I know it's in the area, but I can't quite tell whether it's there or whether it's there. Okay, Jeff's all done. So there we go. No, I'm hoping we're still on YouTube. I'm gonna have to come and check.
Can you hear me, mate?
Oh, I can hear you fine. Yeah, yeah. You hear me? Yeah, I can hear you
Okay.
fine.
I'm miraculously back, but again, I can't hear you for whatever reason.
You can't hear me. Okay, okay. All right. Well, we've got an entry, mate. We are looking
I
to
can
trade
hear you
the.
in delay on the on YouTube.
No problem.
That's it.
No problem. Okay. I'm looking to basically enter along this the high of this bar. So when the plane gets broken on the pivot, then looking to get an entry, stops at the lows of the bar. Everybody should be all good with that. I quite like this trade. And after that, we are looking to, let me just make sure all the other ones get triggered in as well. That's going to be I'm going to run my my multiple accounts here. Right, there we go. We are in. We are in. So I am in the trade, and I'm in the FTSE 100 long. And as I say, the idea is that this bar down here is is where the low end is going to be in. I'm just going to double check this has actually triggered me. Yes, I am in. Okay, great. Okay, so FTSE 100 is a long, and I'm now triggered in. My target is the weekly pivot. So let's bring that up for you guys on the price. If it breaks down, then allow it to get stopped out, because as I say, it could be just a little bit lower, but it'd be no harm, no foul, because it will just come down a little bit further, and then you can get a re-entry. But I'm just trying to feel my way in here. I quite like the fact that it's come under the monthly pivot. And it's giving us another potential area to go long here. So that's why I've played it the way I have. You'll probably be triggered in. I'm hoping you're in the trade now, and you know the deal. The deal is that as soon as things go up to a point where it's high enough, then you're gonna secure your stops. So secure the stops to break even, and I would suggest it's going to be around about this daily pivot. Now, when that happens, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to allow myself to potentially make nothing out of this trade, because my target is around about this weekly pivot. And I may not see that until tomorrow. So there could be a lot of fluctuations. But what I want to do is get stops at break even in around about 50 pips. So if we can get up to around about 50 pips to the upside, then the stops can go at break even. And then it's still got to get through this area before it comes down and takes out the low. There was no worries about putting a stop at break even a little bit before if you're uncomfortable, because there is such a strong move to the downside. Because if it comes down, then there might be a chance to re-enter if you're still keen on the long. But I'm keen on the long here. I think that there's every chance for a bounce. I think it's a dead cat bounce. I don't think it's going to be anything significant. In actual fact, this high is probably an area to put your stops. Just looking at this on some longer term time frames. The 4-hour chart expresses to me that where's that trend line coming from? It looks like it's coming from here. Where's that trend line coming from? What's that? Oh, I think it's there. Looking along here, look at this. You see this trend line along here? Now that looks like the neckline. It could be the neckline. And because of that, I think it's probably wise to maybe put the stops at break even when we touch the high. But really we want to give it some room. And as I say, I'm after somewhere around about the weekly pivot. It doesn't have to be exact. And at that point, the short goes in. As soon as it comes up to around this area, the short goes in. So we're still looking for around about 80 pips up, and then the short goes in. Now we're not trying to make any money specifically out this long, but we will make something out of it if the price starts to turn around. And as soon as it's a safe area, it's gone through maybe another level of support, then this comes off and the stops on the shorts go to break even. So there are a few scenarios and possibilities here to give us some tradable areas that are a little bit safer. So that's the plan, mate. Okay, so we're gonna shame not in tomorrow actually, because this is probably going to be a trade for really tomorrow. We gotta let this one mature. It's come down a long way, and it has struggled to get some upside. And because of that, I think it may well take
No,
a little
don't
bit.
give yourself too much work to do.
Well, for
You
tomorrow,
don't need it.
well, you mean re-enter, like coming back on air tomorrow? No, you're probably right. Okay, so we're not going to be back on air tomorrow. We'll be back on Monday. Same. Oh, Judge, you know what? I'm not in Monday. I'm just thinking about it. I've got childcare issues. So I don't know if you want to kind of take Monday off as well, or what you want to do really. But I'm not here. I won't be back till Tuesday.
Actually, I will, because I've got a few things up that I need to do as well on Monday, and I may not get back in good time. So we will take Monday off, guys.
Okay, great. All right, we'll take Monday off, and we'll be back Tuesday. Let's see what establishes here. But as long as everybody's clear, we're actually going long to go short here. That's the idea. And your stop should be at the lows now. If it gets taken out, then we're just looking for another, I guess, another bar like we just had, to try and get into the upside. Yeah. Okay, mate. That'll be it then for now. We'll be back next Tuesday then. Same trade time, same trade channel at 5 to 8. Have a great weekend, and have a great weekend for you as well, Jeff. And I hope you get everything done that you need to get done, and then some of those trades shape up.
Mate, that will be it. Yes, we'll see you on Tuesday. Everyone have a great weekend. Great trading this week, Ash. Well done, mate. Very quiet my end. Only a couple of trades at least. They've been winners, I suppose.
Yeah, always. That's all we're after, isn't it? That's all we're after. All right. Well, we will bid you bon bouche. See you next week.
See you guys. Have a great one. Bye.